Good morning, everyone. How is everyone today? It's Tuesday again. Can't believe how fast the summer is going by. And today is the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. And I love today's card. It was, I don't know. Let's have a look at it and you can tell me what you think. I love the layout. I like how there's that greeting in the center and the flowers kind of spread out from there. So I took a look at what stamp sets I had and I came up with one. And I actually really like my card better than the original card, but that's just because I tweaked it the way I like it, right? So that's the fun thing about these challenges is that you can do things the way you want. This is actually a very pretty card and I loved it too, but in the end, I really ended up loving my card even more because I could personalize it for me. And so here's this, here is the sketch. So we've got the card base, or the card front is 4¼ by 5½. And then we've got two big layers on the front. And you can see that little arrow, and that's pointing to a background layer. I made my layer just a little bit bigger. I did 4¼ by 5. I did that layer 4¼ by 4½. And then my white layer will be 4¼ by 4¼ but it was actually this was actually a fun card for me to create, so I hope you like the sketch and I hope you will give it a try. We're gonna pop over here. Good morning, Marty. So and good morning, Janine. Nice to see you guys here. So I'm gonna pop over to my other camera so I can chat with you afterwards. So let's switch. I'm just making sure I had everything turned on. Let's have a look at my card for today. Look at this card. I love it. You know what I love about it is it's fast in terms of the stamping. This flower is stamped in one color. And so I did some clever little masking and I'll show you how I did that in a moment. But the color, just comes from just inking it up in one color. I didn't do any fancy techniques to get the stems green or anything like that, but I think it looks really striking with just the black and the white and the purple. So it just, I don't know, I don't do a lot of black and white cards, so I really like the way this one came out because I'm not generally a black and white person. But black and white card maker, I don't use that a lot, but this one really pops. And I just got this bundle and I'm really enjoying it. It's called Lovely and Lasting. And here, I'm going to tip this a bit so you can see the punch a little bit better, this shape. And this matches this frame right here. And the nice thing about this stamp set is that it's actually a great beginner stamp set because it's got thinking of you, happy birthday, thank you, oh hello, best of luck, cheers. Lots of different greetings in here and just nice little elements like this big floral bouquet, which you could theoretically ink up with markers and then, do the flowers separate from the flowers a different color than the stems and leaves. Or the other way to do this in two colors would be to stamp this whole thing in green, stamp the flowers separately in a different color, and then cut the flowers out and put them on top, maybe with dimensionals to make them pop a little bit. So I'm really loving it. I've made 2 cards so far with this stamp set, and I've only had it for about 2 weeks. So let's dive in and we'll make this card. And let's start off with the card base. So I like tent folds. So I took a piece of cardstock 11 inches by 4¼ and I scored it in half at the 5½ inch mark. Smooth that down. So I love our designer series paper, and normally I'm very generous when I'm using it, but I didn't want to cut a whole 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheet with only this much peeking out the bottom and the top. So what I did was I did some 4 1/4 by 1 inch strips and just glued them to the top and the bottom of the card base because I just felt like I could use that paper for something else. So, you know, when it's just covering a bit of the designer series paper, I'm fine with, you know, cutting a big piece, but not when I'm just going to use a tiny portion of the paper. In fact, I probably could have gone even smaller. Like probably could have done 3/4 of an inch, but just for ease, and because at the time when I was making it the first time, I wasn't really sure how much I needed to cover up. I hadn't done those calculations in my brain. I thought 1 inch, and that way I had room to maneuver up and down. Huh, the card already looks good. I'm just bragging now, aren't I? Okay, so actually if I had done it shorter, then I wouldn't have maybe even needed, I could have had that, I'm just thinking now, if I had done this layer a little shorter, I wouldn't have needed this extra layer, but I kind of wanted this to stick out instead of inset. So I guess, you know, that's what you get when you play around a little bit. You get different, you learn different things. I could have made this easier on myself. Okay, so I'm going to add this layer, this basic black layer, which is 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, which I actually probably didn't need if I had done my paper measurements correctly here, but that's okay. It allows me to move this layer up and down however I want, because this top layer is a little bit shorter than the bottom layer, so I would have had to keep that in mind. All right, so I've got this big piece of basic black, and now we need to do this 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 layer right here. Okay, so let's set this aside, and we're going to do this layer. So what I want to do is I have to do some masking. So because my floral stem is quite large, and if I just stamp this coming across here, it might peek out and overlap on this other side. So what I'm going to do is I pre-punched one of the lasting label punch shapes. This is just to use as a template. And I'm going to take my pencil here, center this as best you can. It's a square, so you know you can do it either way, so it won't really matter. So I'll just center that, and then I'm going to trace this out with a pencil. So I don't want to use the same piece that I'm going to use afterwards, unless I'm going to use the back side of the piece, because you know sometimes when I'm tracing I end up going on to the shape a little bit. So this side wouldn't be nice, but you could do the opposite side. So you could actually do this piece first and then use it to trace on the back side. But you can see I just have lightly traced my shape onto there. Then I'm going to take a Post-it note, and this, let me measure my Post-it note so you know. It's a 3 by 3. And I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to, there's kind of an indent here and an indent over here. So I'm going to line up the two indents like this. All right. So it's just coming across there. You can kind of see barely the two indents. And I'm going to come in with my Orchid Oasis and ink this up. I like to ink big stamps lying flat and using my ink pad in my hand. There's little grooves on the side of your ink pad, so you can kind of hold it. All right, so now I know where the shape is, and I can kind of maneuver this and twist it however I want. I want it to fit up into the corner, so most of my flower is showing, and I'm going to press down. Give it a second for the ink to soak in, and then lift off. Okay, peel this off. And then I'm going to do the same for the other side. So we'll just come through here. And I'm just going to like maneuver this as well. Just kind of see where I want it. Now I'll ink it up first. I just wanted to see if my post-it note was in the right spot. I'm just actually, I can just see a hint of where the flower was stamped, just that line. So I just lined the post-it note up on that line. And then I'm going to take this and just twist this. I can see a bit of the flower here, so I'm going to try and line that up. And then down here, like that. I'm standing up when I press down on here because it just gives me, it's a big stamp and just a little pressure. All right, let's see how it looks. Voila. Okay, it doesn't look bad actually, even like this, but I'm going to stick a label right in the center of that. I'm surprised how good it looks with those two pieces matching up. Not too bad. All right, so I'm going to leave this out, and I'm going to take a scrap piece of basic white. I'm going to take my Memento ink pad, and I'm going to take this frame stamp, and I'm going to ink this up, and we'll stamp it down here. And I'm going to close this up and take my happy birthday, ink it up in Orchid Oasis, and just stamp it in the center. Close that up. Take this, stick it in the punch. I absolutely love punches for this because this is a little faster than die cutting. So that always makes me a little bit happy to be able to do that quickly. Oh, that's gonna look so good. Okay, one more thing to do that I want to do before I adhere everything together. There's this tiny little stamp. It's got little speckles on it. You can probably see just a shadow of them stamped right there and down there underneath the bow. It just adds just a little bit to the card. So I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper. I don't want it to be too intense, so I'll just ink this up lightly in Sahara Sand ink and stamp off once, and you can probably get 2 stampings off of there. Once, twice, and this is just going to add just a little bit. It helps if you stamp it off once, twist and twist, so that the little dots don't all look the same. Okay, so I just added like just some dots there and some dots there. They're very light. The person who gets the card probably won't even notice that they're there, but they enhance the card. Those little tiny details, they just do a little bit of enhancing. And even though people don't maybe realize they're there, they're just good to have there. Okay, so this layer is going to be adhered onto here. And just make sure you've got about the same amount peeking from up and down. so beautiful. It looks beautiful just like that, I think. Even though those two flowers are mashed together. So we'll take some dimensionals. I've got partial dimensionals here. I'm not going to cut those up today. I'll just use the full ones here. So probably 4 is good. Okay. I did not tie myself a bow. All right, I will tie one on camera. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna put that down there. All right, my little bow maker. Oh, oops. Sorry, I reached for it and didn't quite grasp it. So this is a bow maker. It is not, it's not from Stampin' Up, so I don't often show it on camera except when I forget to make my bow. I'm trying to think how big my bow is. Yeah, I think it's this size. It's a Stampin' Up demonstrator by the name of Lee Conroy, I think is her name. If anyone's looking for the link, just let me know and I will post it below. But it's just an easy way to make uniform bows, especially when you're tying many of them and you don't want to go crazy. Okay, so I'll just add that. Here, I'm just trying to decide how long my little ends are going to be. This one needs to be a bit shorter. Okay, that looks good. Oh, and this ribbon, I didn't even say what the paper was, so let me do that real quick. This paper is the Perfectly Penciled paper. It's an all black and white paper. There are floral patterns on one side and geometric patterns on the other side. So you can see here, got stripes on one side and florals on the other. This is a nice paper because what you can do is you can actually color the florals if you want to and use them on your card. Like for instance, I could have cut this floral here and used it on the front of the card too, but I kind of like what I did with it. But this is just, it's beautiful paper. And it's useful because it's got the geometrics on one side and the other. So if you like that paper, this gingham ribbon looks really striking with it. It's the black and white gingham ribbon. Okay, let's add this bow. And I like to use tear and tape because it has a bit more surface area than just using mini glue dots. And I just put a little bit on the loops of the bow on the back. And I just tear it. And then, and while I'm mentioning my bow maker, I should also mention this little container that has actually been such a great thing while I'm stamping. It contains all of my little supplies, and you can get this little box at stampyboxes.com from another demonstrator friend. She makes these. This has been on my desk. It's actually just sits a little bit off camera, but it has my tear and tape, my scissors, different tools that I use. It's got a slot for the bone folder, a slot for take your pick. I keep my stamp and seal, and I actually do usually keep a glue in there. I'm running low on glue. I've only got 2 substitute glues. I gotta get some more glue. So it does have a spot for my glue, but I keep my glue upside down in a jar, but I usually keep a spare right there so it's handy. Just in case I run out on camera, I have it right there. And so I just keep all of my little tools in there. Oh, the take your pick tool, it also has room for the little the other little ends that belong to the Take Your Pick tool. So it's just very, very cool. Okay, moving on. But that has kept me a lot more organized doing my lives and everything. And even when I just stamp regularly, I didn't have a good place to put everything. And now I'm not rifling as much for things. There's certain things that, I don't use all the time that are off camera, but the most used tools all fit in there. So I'm just going to add this little guy down here. And then I'm going to use some of these matte black dots that just kind of complete the black look. So let me grab one from down here and here and one of them up here. So I usually do 3 because odd numbers tend to look good when you're decorating things. And 3 is a nice number to put on there. So that is all there is to the card. And the cool thing about this card is that you could do this floral in whatever color you want. You could do it in red, you could do it in pink. That's the nice thing. You could customize it. I love our new in colors. This was Orchid Oasis, and so it's just very simple. Like, how long did it take me to do this card? Not very long. Probably one of my shorter tutorials, and I'm done very quickly with all of those pieces just put together so nicely. So I hope you like this card and you will give it a little try, because we all need quick birthday cards, and this one is a quick birthday card that actually looks like you spent a lot of time on it. So that's kind of a cool thing. Cards that look hard but are easy, right? It's always fun. So I want to remind everyone that we're still in celebration. We only have about 2 weeks left. Is it 2 weeks? No, we're like just over a week left of celebration. It's the 23rd and celebration ends on the 31st. So what that means is for every $50 or $100 you spend, you get to choose a reward product from Stampin' Up. And if you're going to be buying holiday products anyway for upcoming Christmas or Thanksgiving or Halloween, may as well do it like this coming week so you can get an extra reward, because in September we're not going to have that. So it's over August 31st. And so we still have lots of cool things that you can add onto your order. And there's paper. So, if you want to get something that's consumable, like you can get, if you spend $100, you don't have to get one of the products for $100. You can get 2 $50 rewards. So that's kind of a nice thing. And also, I have a host code running if you want to place an order with me. Very much appreciated, by the way. This is my host code for August. And in August, I am giving out, for August orders, here we go. You will be getting a package of the Fine Sparkle Adhesive Back Gems, a full package, not my half package here. And these are great. They're even great going into winter. They actually match the Gnomes bundle that we have in the holiday catalog right now, but they're good for closing out the end of summer. You'll be getting these mailed to you in September if you place an order with me. You have a week left, and please use this host code here, because that's how I use the host code to get the rewards so that I can send them out to everyone. And let's take a look over at the comments. And I'm going to close this out and say hello to you this morning. Good morning, Cindy and Mary and Amy and Dee. Okay, and I will post the link to the ribbon maker afterwards, and I'll put the the Stampy Boxes link as well, so you can find her. Both of those people are demonstrators, so it's their little side business, so I'm happy to support them with a link. Good morning, Ellie. Ellie's in her new place in Connecticut. How wonderful. Oh, moves are always tough, Ellie. I've done some big ones, but yeah, I try and block them out of my brain. It's you know what moving is? It's really painful at the time and for a little while afterwards, because you have to change everything around. Probably for about a year afterwards, you still feel the residual pain, and you have to figure out who your new medical people are, your doctors, your dentists, and all of that in your new place. So that can also be challenging. But what I have found with moving is that it's also a really nice time, like, because it's like it's like a renewal, a rebirth. And when you move, you typically get rid of a lot of clutter. So when you move into your new place, it's kind of like starting over with a clean slate. And each time we move, I'm trying to do better. So, I'm trying to hold on to less stuff, because I just remember how painful the last move was. And I was like, yeah, no, do not want to collect more stuff. So I'm actually more deliberate about what I purchase, and I spend more time thinking about that. So that's one good thing. And, it just it frees up the mind in a sense to kind of start over, so if you want to start like a new routine when you're in the new place, like say you weren't exercising regularly before, and I'm not even speaking about you, Ellie, in particular, but for instance, when we moved here, my husband started walking with me every morning, and he hadn't done that when we lived in Tennessee. So he started a new habit. It's like a really great time, like to take up something new, like take up a new hobby, or, it's moving can be good. It's scary and crazy and all of that stuff. But afterwards, if you look at, you can use it to slingshot you into a whole bunch of good things if you can use it for that. So I hope that's what you'll find, Ellie. I know it takes a while to get settled. Good luck with all of that. Amy said she bought one of the bow makers and loves it and uses it all the time. Oh, well, that's great. I'm glad that you supported Lee in her little side business. Ellie loves the card. Thank you. Good morning, Karen. She thinks the card is beautiful. Oh, good morning, Dana. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in one of my lives in a long time. And she says the card's beautiful, and so does Marty. Oh, and Ellie likes my gorgeous blouse that I'm wearing. It's actually a t-shirt, and okay, I'm really bad at shopping, because when I like something, I just want more of it in the same pattern. So, or in a different pattern. So, this is actually a t-shirt from Kohl's, and the company is called Croft and Barrel. And so I'll go into the store and I'll find my size, and then I'll just get more of them. And normally, I think I could fit into a smaller size, but lately I've been finding that, especially in summer, because it's been getting more humid here, I actually want my shirts to fit a little looser so they don't cling to me. So this one, I think I kind of went up a size larger than I normally could comfortably fit into, just because I just wanted the space and have it not touch my body in the summer, so there could be airflow. But I really liked this pattern too. And so then I got home, I find the right size, and then you don't see all the sizes in the store. So I'll go home, go to the Kohl's website, and then I'll buy a bunch in different patterns, just because I can't be bothered to go from store to store to find a whole bunch of different shirts that I like. So yeah, Kohl's for me is great. My son does not like shopping there. He I think it's too repetitive for him. He's like, no, I'd rather shop in other stores. For a while I could get him to shop there, but not anymore. But I kind of like, that's my shopping style. I'm not a big shopper to begin with, so that will probably explain a lot. But thank you, Ellie. A long explanation of everything. Hi, Perry. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Don't worry, Perry. You can go back and watch the beginning again, where I actually did some stamping. So, Kelly likes the cards. She says they're beautiful. Thank you. Marty says she does the same thing with her shirts. Buys one and then finds the right size and buys a bunch more. I want the easy button. So, Pam says Kohl's is her happy place. Oh, good. I'm glad there's someone else that likes Kohl's. And then I'm a huge fan of Cuddle Duds. So I wear Cuddle Duds all winter long because I love the way their shirts are so soft. In fact, I have trouble transitioning in the summer because I'm so used to wearing soft Cuddle Duds shirts, long sleeve shirts, like for most of the year. And then in summer, I'm like, I want soft. And it's harder to find really, really soft shirts in the summer. So anyway, but Pam, yeah, Kohl's is great. Janine says that she wears that brand from Kohl's all the time and she loves it. Oh yeah, you were wearing a pair of capris. I do have some capris from Croft and Barrow as well. It's a good brand, and I like it for its consistency. It does tend to fit me well, so I like it. And they have, hopefully a whole range of sizes, and I think they have petites too. So. All right. Well, we talked about a lot of things besides stamping, but I'm glad you joined me. And I know if my talking afterwards or before is not your cup of tea, just fast forward it. That's what the fast forward button is for. And I hope I showed you how cool that blossom is when you can mask it off and create this beautiful bouquet and just stick a label in the center of it. So oh, Perry said she was busy opening up all the Stampin' Up! Boxes. Oh, your order got there. Awesome. And Perry also loves Kohl's. Well, I love Kohl's. I hope they stick around. They have had trouble here and there, but I buy stuff from them every year. Oh, I also buy my running shoes from there because I'm a bit of I wear down running shoes. I walk a lot. So I buy my running shoes there, and I know what size I generally am, so I actually order those online too now. And then if I had to return a pair, it's not too far, and then I went there and I figured out what size or what style I wanted, and then I went online and I ordered it again because sometimes Kohl's doesn't have Kohl's. I like the store to try stuff on, but it doesn't always have all the colors or all the sizes that you need, especially in the shoe department. I'm probably a very common size, and my shoe size is hardly ever there, so I always have to order online for that. All right. Marty says masking is a great trick. It's Marty, it's Croft and Barrow. So Barrow, I think, is Barrow. And it is, I don't know if it's their store brand or because I don't know that I've ever seen it anywhere else. But it comprises a big section of the store. So you will definitely come across it. You can ask, just ask where the section is. I mean, the Kohl's store is nice because it's not big. And I think that's another reason why I like to shop there, because I can get overwhelmed really quickly if there's too much selection. So Kohl's is like a much smaller size store for me to peruse versus a big department store. I do like TJ Maxx and Marshalls too, but I have to be in the mood to shop there, and you have to go early on in the season if you want to, you know, catch the things that are cool and new, or you have to go more often maybe to I've gotten some really cute tops there too, but I have to be in the mood because it does involve trying on a bunch of things. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a fabulous week. I already know what I'm doing on Friday for once. It's another Halloween project. So I hope you will join me Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube for my Friday project. Have a great week until then, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.